What we're looking at in this video is numeric operations, and what numeric means is number basically. So it's things or operations that we can do with numbers, and you'll be aware of almost all of these from maths. So what you've got things like addition, you've got subtraction, you've got division, and we use a slash for division in programming, multiplication, so we use a star for multiplication. And then you've got other things like plus plus, which means increment, and minus minus, which means decrement, and assignment. And so these are the numeric operations and operators that we have to deal with. So we'll just go through those again. Addition, subtraction, slash for division, a star for multiplication, two pluses in a row, which means increment or add one to something, and two minuses in a row, which means decrement or take away one from something, and equals, which is assignment. And that's what we use with variables. So I can look at some very basic sums, as it were, with these. So some basic numeric operations. So if I take 5 plus 5, then that will give me the answer of, and in fact I'm not even going to write the equals here, so that will give me the answer of 10, and I'm just going to separate with a comma so that we don't get confused with assignment. If I take 5 minus 5, that's going to give me the answer of 0. 5 divided by 5 will give me the answer of 1, because 5 goes into 5 once. 5 times 5 will give me the answer of 25. Then I've got, let's say that I'm putting a variable, so let's say I have age is equal to 15. If I then say age plus plus, then age will now be the value of 16. And if I then say afterwards age minus minus, that will be the value of 15. So, and another way to write this age plus plus, I can say age is assigned the value of age plus 1, or I can say age is assigned the value of age minus 1, and this is exactly the same as saying this one here is age plus plus, and this one here is age minus minus. We have one more operator, which is a percent symbol. However, it doesn't mean percent, and what this means in programming is something called modulus. And so let's just take a look at what modulus does, because it's a little bit different to what you might expect. So I can say something like 5 modulus 5. So how many times does 5 go into 5? It goes in once, remainder 0. So the answer to this will be 0. Or I could say something like 10 mod 5. How many times does 5 go into 10? It goes in twice, the remainder is 0. So that will be the answer. What about if I say 14 modulus 5? So 5 goes into 14 twice, that gets me 10, and then the remainder is 4. I've got 4 left over, so modulus will find me 4. If I said something like 16 mod 3, so 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, so I go in 5 times, and I've got a remainder of 1, so that would be 1. So a slightly different operator there in the modulus. So let's have a look at how these work when we're programming them. So I can start off by making a write, so I want to write to my document, and I'm going to directly write my calculations in here because it will convert them to a string for me. So the first one which I'm going to take a look at is addition, so 5 plus 5, and I get 10, and we can see the outputs over here once I finish them. So I get 10 for that, which is what I'd expect. 5 minus 5, I get 0. 5 multiplied by 5, I get 25. 5 divided by 5, I get 1. 5 modulus with 5, I get 0, because there's no remainder when I do that division. What about if I do 5 modulus of 3? Then I get a remainder of 2, because 3 goes into 5 once, remainder 2. Or if I do 15 modulus of 3, I will get 0. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So there's no remainder there. What about if I do 19 mod 3? Well, I can get to 18, and then I get a remainder 1. So that's the 1 remainder there. Okay, that works fine. What about now if I take some variables? So let's say that I have a variable which is going to store a score, and that will initially be equal to 0. And so first of all, I just want to write that onto the screen. So let's put the score on there. There we go, that's 0. And then I want to put a blank line, so I'm going to put a BR tag as a string on there. And then I want to say score is assigned the value of score plus 1, just to see how this works. And so let's just take those lines of code there. Okay, so we're writing the score on the screen, so we've added 1 and we get 1 on the screen now. Now we can do the same thing using the increment operator, so that's the increment operator there. And then we put that on the screen, and so we get 2. And then we can do a decrement operator. This is the same as saying score is score minus 1. And let's just have a look at those. And there we go back to 1 again. So we add 1, and we subtract or we decrement. And that's those two newer operators, the plus plus and minus minus. There's one more thing to think about, which is something which is called orders of precedence. And this is something which you've probably met in maths, although you may not have called it that. Orders of precedence. And in maths you may have called this bod maths or bid maths or something like that. And what it is that certain things, certain operators or operations will happen before other ones. And the order in which these occur is a plus plus and a minus minus will happen first. Then your times and divide. Then your modulus, and your plus and your minus, and finally your assignment. And so this is decreasing orders of precedence. So as we go down, these are decreasing, which means that if I do something like 5 plus 5 times 5. Now if we didn't have orders of precedence, if we did everything from left to right, then I would say let's add the 5 with the 5, which is 10, times by 5, that should equal 50. However, because I've got these orders of precedence, I'm saying 5 times 5 is 25, add 5 is 30. And so although I'm telling you these are the orders of precedence and I know that 30 should be the right answer, let's just have a look and see how JavaScript does it. So we go back to here, and what I want to do now is I will set something to be written in the document, and so I want 5 plus 5 times 5. So what's this going to give me? And it gives me the 30 there. So 5 times 5 is 25, plus 5 is 30. If I want to break these orders of precedence, I can use brackets, because brackets override it. And so 5 plus 5 is 10 times 5, and now I get 50 there.